Alright guys, Nintendo has officially announced a brand new Nintendo Direct that's going to air on September 14th at 7 a.m. PT. That is 10 a.m. Eastern Time. On Twitter, they stated this exactly. Tune in on September 14th at 7 a.m. PT for a hashtag Nintendo Direct live stream featuring roughly 40 minutes of information focused on hashtag Nintendo Switch games releasing this winter. So of course I will be live reacting to the show right here on PlayerEssence. We will have a pre-show as well, so make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and hit that notification bell so you can get all my videos and the latest updates on the Nintendo Direct. So let's go ahead and jump right into these Nintendo Direct predictions. Now in the last Nintendo Direct video, or prediction video I should say, that I made, yeah, it didn't go over quite so well. So I'm going to be far more grounded with my predictions this time around. So let's go ahead and jump into the third party announcements, and then we'll get into the first party announcements after that. So let's go ahead and start off with Gotham Knights. That is a game that was rated recently for the Nintendo Switch. I covered it on a video that I did recently as well. So Gotham Knights seems to be coming, so I'm expecting that game to come over because of the rating, and probably Nintendo reveals it. Now there was Batman the Arkham Trilogy that came over to Nintendo Switch, and that game's coming out October or so, so I think that they're gonna say, hey, let's go ahead and get Gotham Knights on the Nintendo Switch as well. Now the next third party announcement will be Borderlands 3. Now we know that that game is already kind of officially revealed and everything, but we haven't seen any gameplay from it. I'm guessing it's going to be very similar to Borderlands 2 and 1 and the Handsome Jack collection, all of that. That was on the Nintendo Switch already. They really took their sweet time getting these games over to the platform, but at least they're there. So if you're a fan of the looter shooter genre, Borderlands 3 should be a game that you check out. It's got all the DLC as well. Although the online multiplayer, it's not 4 players, it's only 2 players on the Nintendo Switch, when 4 players has been a staple, and I'm pretty sure that it's 4 players on like the Borderlands Game of the Year edition and Borderlands 2 and the Handsome Jack game, all of that stuff, like all of that, it's all 4 players, so it's only 2 on this one. So keep that in mind if you want to pick up the Nintendo Switch version, or at least that's what was said beforehand. Next up is Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. Now this game has went MIA for like the past couple years or something like that since the reveal, and maybe we're finally going to get to it now at this point. Announced at a Nintendo Direct, in addition to seeing it at the Tokyo Game Show. So I do think that is a very high possibility. I'm not incredibly confident in this prediction just because, I don't know, Square Enix has just been like, whatever. With Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, they might want to do their own Dragon Quest event. But I do think that it's possible, because if you want to get maximum exposure for a game like this, absolutely Nintendo Direct is the way to get it done. And my co-host of the PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo podcast every single Friday right here on PlayerEssence, make sure you guys check it out, Stealth, he feels that this game is going to be a Nintendo Switch exclusive at first and then come over to other platforms. So that'd be interesting if that was the case. Now next up is a huge game that a lot of people might not see coming, and this is probably my wildest prediction for third party, and that is Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to make its way to the Nintendo Switch. EA finally got the Frostbite engine over to the Nintendo Switch, and I don't know if the Legendary Edition runs on the Frostbite engine. I'm not sure if it does or not, because those were originally Unreal Engine 3 games, but I don't think it's connected in that type of way. What I'm saying is that they're actually making somewhat more of an effort on the Nintendo Switch platform. So maybe they said, hey, let's get Mass Effect Legendary Edition over. They never really shut the door on it whenever they were asked, so I think it's still possible. Maybe it doesn't have all the upgrades that the Xbox and PlayStation versions have, so it's just the Mass Effect trilogy that was, I think, already released on the PS3 and Xbox 360, but you just package in all the DLC and everything with it, and I think fans would be okay with that. The games still play good if you're playing it for the most part on Xbox 360 and PS3 to a degree, so if they smooth that out, better from those versions and put it out on the Nintendo Switch, I think fans would be okay with that, having a true portable version of it and not have to pick up like a Steam Deck and try to play it that type of way, or some type of weird Logitech cloud-based type of thing or something like that. So Mass Effect Legendary Edition could be another one of the games. Plus, we've been getting some massive trilogies on the Nintendo Switch anyway with games like Batman. So my last prediction for third party, and I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot more third party announcements, smaller ones, indie games, stuff like that, but these are just the ones that I'm just saying in general. So Deca Police. Deca Police does not have a release date. It was first revealed, I think, at the February Nintendo Direct in 2023, and it was an incredible announcement. I love the style. I love the flow of the game. It looks super cool with the art style. Level 5 is back to me, and a game like Deca Police proves it, but we still need more information. Where is the release date for this game? Now, they did state that the game will be at Tokyo Game Show, so if it's not here at the Nintendo Direct, it'll be there at the Tokyo Game Show. I don't know if there's going to be a delay for this year. If the game is dropping this year, I'm guessing they would want to have it at a Nintendo Direct to show the release date, because this fall is incredibly competitive on the Nintendo Switch and just on platforms worldwide, because Deca Police is also on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and there's a lot of good games coming out with Super Mario Wonder, Super Mario RPG. There's just a lot of cool stuff. So if they want to get this game out this year, I think now would be the time to announce the release date and what's going on, pre-orders and all of that. So I think that Deca Police could show up with the release date and more information on the game. Now let's go ahead and move into the first party announcements, the big reasons why people even watch the Nintendo Directs in the first place. So let's start off with the brand new Princess Peach game. I think that that is going to have more information shown off. We're going to get an official title for the game. We're going to get pre-orders. We're going to get a release date. There's going to be a bunch of new information about what this game is actually about. You guys remember, look, the Super Mario Bros. Movie has been huge. Peach has blasted off into a new stardom when it comes down to it, and a lot of people want to know more about this Princess Peach game. We haven't gotten a solo Princess Peach starring game since the Nintendo DS with Super Princess Peach, so I think that Nintendo is going to have a nice spotlight on this game. Next up is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon Remaster. We really only saw about 30 seconds of it or so not much based off of what we saw before. So I think they kind of show off more about the game. We get a release date for next year. Obviously, same thing with Princess Peach game, release date for next year. They kind of talk more about what they've enhanced in this game, maybe how the online multiplayer works, what's better, what they're doing with it, maybe some HD Rumble stuff. And really, it's cool because we've got Luigi's Mansion 3. We've got Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon now, so is there going to be Luigi's Mansion 1? Are they going to bring that over just so we can have all the games on the platform? So maybe we get another surprise announcement. Maybe, just maybe, the original game comes with this one as an unlockable. Maybe the original GameCube game or the one that was on the Nintendo 3DS. Now, I doubt that's going to happen, but I think it would be pretty cool if there was something like that. So Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, we know what it is. It's a good game. It's solid. And that one's coming over, so we'll see more information on it here. Next up, we've got some new announcements, and that's Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3 HD. There's been swirling rumors whether this is going to be a full-on remaster with some remake level stuff in there, like Metroid Prime 1 on the Nintendo Switch, but I think that they're probably just going to do a double pack. We saw Pikmin 1 and 2 HD come out, or at least the digital version, the physicals coming out soon here as well. So I do think that they can do something very similar with Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3. Just put those in 1080p. It's already in 60 frames per second on the native platforms. And bam, you got yourself a pretty good bundle for players out there, for Metroid Prime fans out there to play. All right, another new announcement that I think could happen is a new F-Zero franchise game. Now, I don't know what it's going to be. I just think that there's going to be an F-Zero franchise game announcement. It could be F-Zero GX. It could be a new style of F-Zero game. It could be something that completely makes people angry out there. But F-Zero is coming back in some type of way, shape, or form. So all 6 of you guys can be happy. No, I'm just joking there. But honestly, F-Zero coming back. We'll see what happens. Now, next up, Donkey Kong franchise game. Once again, very similar to F-Zero in my predictions. I'm not exactly sure how it's coming back or what it's going to be. It might make some people angry, might not. We just have to wait and see. Maybe there's multiple announcements for these games with F-Zero and Donkey Kong. Maybe there's at least 2 or so games coming out for each one of these. We just don't know at this point, but I can see them kind of revisiting F-Zero and Donkey Kong in this Nintendo Direct based off of some of the rumors and also what I've been talking about for quite some time now. I think I've predicted Donkey Kong now for like the last 3 or 4 Nintendo Directs dating back to like 2 years ago or something like that. I also think that Nintendo will be doing some updates for games like Super Mario RPG. We still haven't seen much more of that game outside of that first trailer. We did get the release date for November 17th, so that's good, but we still need to know like what's going on with the game. Is there going to be improvements when it comes to the battle system? Are there going to be extra things added in? How about the content? We still need to know about all of that. So Super Mario RPG, I would guess, would get some new details like an overview trailer, something like that, or a small overview trailer. I also think that Super Mario Bros. Wonder, although we already got the direct for that game, which that game's incredible. I got a chance to play it when I was in Seattle. It's super good. Everyone is going to buy that game for the most part at some point. So I don't think they need to talk about it too much, but I think they would probably show off another trailer for Super Mario Bros. Wonder just because it's such a huge game for the holiday and it's coming up pretty soon as of the time that I'm recording this video. All right, next up, guys, you know it's not a Nintendo Direct without ports, remasters, old Nintendo games. We've already talked about some of them, but maybe finally we get Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD. People want to see these games come back, so I feel that we could finally get this now that Tears of the Kingdom is done. There's not going to be any DLC for right now, at least. There's not going to be any major expansion or something like that. The game is complete and finished, so maybe they finally move on to something here where people can buy Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and they can go back and revisit their favorites with the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. I'm more interested to see if they actually improve upon what we saw with the Wii U releases, which were 1080p 30 frames per second, and particularly with Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, with a number of drops, especially out there in the sea with some of like the monsters that come up and stuff like that. So do they improve that to 1080p 60 frames per second like they did with the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD that got a lot of improvements, or is it going to be more vanilla ports of what we already got? So we'll see if they actually bring those. Apparently those have just been sitting in some Nintendo vault or warehouse waiting to be unleashed for players to pick up. Now, next up, another port here. I'm just going to predict this until it happens. Xenoblade Chronicles X. We've been talking about this for so long. Nintendo knows that people want it. We've got Xenoblade Chronicles 1, we've got 2, we've got 3, we've got Torna, we've got Future Redeemed, we've got Future Connected. Literally everything Xenoblade is on the Nintendo Switch except one game. And yes, Xenoblade Chronicles X story-wise does not link up directly to the baseline Xenoblade games, to the Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3 and the expansions, but at the same time it would still be super cool to have. And if you think about it, Xenoblade Chronicles X is a very unique and different type of Xenoblade game with its mech gameplay and its true open world gameplay that they do, which Xeno 3 is also true open world, but this game, Xeno X, allows you to fly with mechs and do all different types of customization. It's a very different flow of open world game compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I think potentially we could finally see Xenoblade Chronicles X get a announcement and maybe a release window for next year at some point. And last but definitely not least, Fire Emblem 4 Remake. I think this could actually end the show. Fire Emblem 4 is another game that apparently Nintendo has just been sitting on for quite some time. We just got Fire Emblem Engage at the beginning of the year, but for those who don't know, Fire Emblem Engage, it's a main game, but then it's kind of like not. It seems more of an anniversary game for the fans because of all of the, I would say, good fan service with the characters in the game, all the different lords that you can use, and what happens towards the end. And I think that's what really cemented it to be more of a fan-driven, like, anniversary game, more so than like a new serious entry into it, especially if you just play and beat the game all the way through. It really plays to the fans' heartstrings when it comes to what they do in that game and what happens and some of the stuff that goes on. It's still a main game. It's still really good, and I'm pretty sure Alear will come back in some way, shape, or form in future Fire Emblem games or future Nintendo games just in general, like Smash Brothers, for example. But I do feel that this game, Fire Emblem 4 Remake, is an actual mainline game that they're bringing over. And if you look at it, they've always had at least one remake of a older Fire Emblem game dating all the way back to like the GBA or DS or something like that, right? We've been getting those. So we got Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia back in 2017. So I think that it's finally time to move on to the next thing here. And if a Fire Emblem 4 remake does drop finally, because there's just been so much information that I've got about this game and that other people have talked about this game, I think that people are going to be very happy, because this is by far one of the darkest, most mature Fire Emblem games, and there's some crazy stuff that happens in it that I think that would make it more exciting for players than a game like Fire Emblem Engage, for example. Like, think Fire Emblem Three Houses, but even crazier at times when it comes to the story. So I would be very excited if they ended a Nintendo Direct on a Fire Emblem 4 remake, or it's one of the big reveals. Check this out. Fire Emblem has been one of those multiple times, so it's exciting to see them finally kind of finish out the Nintendo Switch strong with the incredible Fire Emblem remake, a game that people have been asking for. Once again, it's never been localized. Fire Emblem 4 has never been localized. This is Genealogy of the Holy War. Never been localized. This is Sigurd's game, so this would be pretty cool to finally have it. So these are my predictions for the Nintendo Direct that's going down. Let me know what you guys think. What are your predictions for the big show? Do you think Nintendo's going to have even more or less than what I talked about? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.